Welcome back to World of Immersion. Today we got from Halloween Horror Nights Nightmares another brand new speculation map, and this is actually the final speculation map before the event starts. We still have not had very many announcements from the event itself. We've only had 2 maze announcements, so this speculation map is really interesting to take a look at, so stay tuned. But before we start today's video, be sure to hit that subscribe button so you never miss when we have brand new content coming out from all of our theme parks across California, as well as Halloween Horror Nights content. It is coming into the horror season, so we're going to have a ton of Halloween Horror Nights content, as well as content from other horror events in the coming future. Alright though, let's get right into the video. Alright, so starting off, let's take a look at this speculation map. This is version 3, and this is usually the final version. They do 3 versions of the speculation map. And once again, this is credited to Horror Night Nightmares. They do some great speculation maps every year, and they're usually pretty decently accurate. So this is a good judge of what the event is going to look like this year. Alright, but let's start by taking a look at what is already announced. Currently, we already have the Chucky maze announced. This was actually announced back in October of last year. It was announced on the very last day of Halloween Horror Nights 2022, which I thought was crazy that they announced the maze for the next year already. But it's really cool. I'm super excited to see what they do here. I'm sure there'll be a lot of puppets in this maze. Hopefully it's pretty scary. I love Chucky. It is one of my favorite horror movies of all time. So I think it'll be a really cool maze to see. The other maze that we know that is already officially announced is The Last of Us. This is going to be super exciting. I believe this one is based on the video game though, instead of specifically the television show that was just released. However, it's going to be super cool to see this as a maze. They do a lot of zombie stuff, but I think this one will be really interesting to see. Last of Us is a really cool property. I actually haven't seen the television show, however I've heard it's really good, so I'm excited to see how this maze turns out. Alright, but those two are 2 mazes that we already know are confirmed. Everything else is still just rumors. This is all speculation, so take everything I'm about to say with a grain of salt. However, let's discuss the mazes that have remained the same since the last speculation map. Alright, so starting off on the right side, over and where the Curious George lot is, right next to Chucky, we have Universal Monsters in Paris. This is the exact same maze that was speculated back in the last speculation map version 2, and I think it is very likely that this is what we're getting at this point. I'm not sure what monsters we're going to be getting here in Paris, but I think it'll be really cool to see monsters again. Monsters is always the coolest maze. I love the monsters mazes that they do. They always have some fantastic soundtracks. Last year, Legends Collide was fantastic, and the year before that, Bride of Frankenstein was my favorite maze at the event. I think they're really cool to see. I think it's great that Universal has done these original mazes based on their classic monsters every year for the last few years, because they always turn out fantastic. And like I said, they have fantastic soundtracks. Now, the next thing that has remained the same since the last speculation map, and actually has remained the same since the entirety of the speculation season, is Tram being themed to celebrities. Now, I'm not sure exactly what this means, but I'm sure it means that they're going to have some version of horror celebrities all along the Tram, turning different themes from celebrities into kind of more horror styles. I think that could be super cool to see. I'm not sure exactly what it's going to be, but it's definitely really exciting to look forward to. The Tram is usually not my favorite of the event, however this one seems like it'll be really interesting, and much more different than anything else we've seen before. Additionally, another maze that has remained pretty much the same is the Exorcist. Now, I actually wasn't the biggest fan of the Exorcist maze when it was here back in 2021, however I heard when it was here before that, a few years prior, it was actually really good. So it's possibly it was just because of 2021 being a much smaller event. It was during the pandemic, so it was not as scary. However, I am excited to see it come back. But as always, I don't love it when they bring back mazes. I would rather them use brand new mazes every year. However, it's still cool that we're getting the Exorcist maze. But what's really cool about this is they're using an additional soundstage, which is really interesting because they lost a maze location with Waterworld now housing the one show in the park. Since the special effects theater where they normally host the show is now being demolished, they're going to have to use the Waterworld area for the show, which means they don't have the Waterworld queue area as a maze location anymore. So now they're using an additional soundstage in the lower lot, which means there's 4 mazes in the lower lot. And this is where the Exorcist is going to go, which is really interesting. Another maze in the lower lot that has stayed the same since the last map and has actually pretty much confirmed at this point due to the facade being almost finished is Holidays in Hell. Now, I had the opportunity to experience this maze back in 2019, which was my first ever year visiting this event. And Holidays in Hell was a pretty cool maze. I thought it was really interesting. However, it wasn't my favorite. I definitely had a lot of black walls, which I'm not usually a fan of. However, I thought the theme was pretty cool. Maybe they'll do away with some of those black walls for this upcoming event. but it's in a much smaller location. It's in the same location where Killer Clowns from Outer Space was last year, behind that soundstage. But like I said, it's a much smaller location, which means it's probably not going to be the greatest maze. However, it's still really cool to see this maze coming back. Now, the final maze that has remained the same on the speculation map, however, we're not sure exactly what it is this bird maze. Now, HN Nightmares has decided to go with these logos for the mazes. They're not sure exactly what the name is going to be. And this one looks like some sort of bird. I'm not sure exactly what it's going to be. However, for this maze, we have the facade completely done already. If you go to the park right now, you can see it is in the Parisian Courtyard area where La Llorona was last year. And the facade looks incredible. It looks super detailed, but I'm almost positive that this maze is going to be an original maze. If it wasn't going to be an original, I feel like HN Nightmares would know by now what it would be. However, I think by them going with the logo, we can guess it's going to have to do something with birds. However, it's definitely going to be an original maze, is my opinion. But this one looks super interesting. The original mazes are always incredible, so I'm super excited to see how this one turns out. But like I said, the facade looks incredible, and if you go around to the side, you can see some of the sets from inside, and they are tall, which means they'll probably be using some stilt walkers in this maze, which will be super interesting to see. Alright, but let's take a look at what the new mazes are on this speculation map that are different than before. Starting off down in the bottom right, we have a Megan roaming horde. Now, this isn't going to be a maze per se, but this is going to be much more of a scare zone is my guess. Probably with a lot of characters dressed up as Megan from the brand new film, which I saw. It was a pretty good film. It's kind of similar to Chucky, but it's a different type of film in my opinion. But this looks like it will be on your walk to the Curious George parking lot where Chucky and Monsters in Paris is, which will be cool because that is a pretty long walk and there's not much going on along there. To have a scare zone there will be really cool. But also the next new thing we have is Evil Dead Rise over in the Walking Dead location. This will probably be pretty easy for them to do since it used to be The Walking Dead, and Evil Dead is another movie about zombies, so that one shouldn't be too hard for them to do. Evil Dead is a great movie though, it's one of my favorites, so I'm super excited to see how it goes as a maze. However, it will be interesting to see them have two mazes themed to zombies this year. I feel like a lot of people who don't know either of the properties might get them confused, which could be interesting to see. However, it is still really cool to have this maze, and I'm super excited to see how it turns out. And the last and final brand new maze we have that was added to this speculation map. Before, on the previous speculation map, it said Top Secret. However, now it says Stranger Things 4, which looks incredible. I am a huge Stranger Things fan. We have not had a Stranger Things maze in quite a few years now. I believe the last one was in 2019 with Stranger Things 2 and 3. So finally having Stranger Things back would be incredible. And it's going to be themed to Season 4, which was fantastic in my opinion. I really love that season. And it is going to draw some huge crowds to this event if these rumors are true. Having a Stranger Things maze would be incredible for the park. I think it would make this event a really, really good event and definitely be the headline maze for this event, in my opinion. It's going to be in the main soundstage over where the Weekend was last year, which is always incredible to have mazes in those sound stages because they are able to build such cool sets, have it be much louder, and just everything else about it is so cool to have it in the soundstage. So I'm super excited to see how Stranger Things 4 turns out if the rumors are true. However, that's going to do it for us going over the speculation map from Horror Night Nightmares. Thank you so much for watching today's video. Be sure to comment down below what you think of this event, if you think these rumors are true, as well as if you think there's going to be some other mazes here that are not on this map. Comment down below if you're excited for this event this year. I know I'm super excited. I love Horror Nights. I will be there a ton this year. And yeah, thank you so much for watching World of Immersion today, and we will catch you in the next video.